honoured to have as our official guest at Mount Panorama today the Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Bob Hawke. And Bob, you've arrived here at a very interesting stage of the race.
Yes, it's fascinating, isn't it?
Well, it looks as though Peter Brock is about to go in for a pit stop.
Yeah.
But he and Alan Moffat have been staging this dice for a while. Just to recapitulate, Brocky at the back is one lap ahead of Alan Moffat, but they're such deadly rivals that neither man will give to the other. And there's something symbolic about this. You have an imported car on the track just a little bit ahead of an Australian one.
Yeah. Well, certainly got the attention of the crowd here riveted.
But I think we've got Peter Brock in the pits.
Is he?
Alan Moffat is, yes, Brock is in the pit, so let's just watch this action.
Sure.
It's very important to see whether he's going to change over or whether Larry Perkins will change over. I think Brock is going to stay. They're changing wheels and tyres. They're giving a drink to Peter because it is so hot out there that they are dehydrating.
Yeah, sure.
A driver in a race like this will lose as much as 10 pounds or more than 3 kilograms.
Is that right?
It's a grueling effort.
What's the temperature here today?
It's about 30 degrees.
30,
much more inside the car.
Yeah, sure.
So Peter Brock is staying in the car. They're refueling, adding the turns of fuel, putting new tyres on because they can do that very quickly without a lot of time. Brock is staying in the car.
What's this, about a minute to change, is it?
Yes, well, we have the stopwatch going there.
Of course, sorry, yeah.
So 36 seconds stop. And there he goes. Peter Brock. That's a quick stop, yes. See, to me, the race represents much that is good about Australia. It's a mixture of high technology, of manufacture, of enthusiasm, of sportsmanship, and of sheer industrial guts. People get there. We've got cases like Dick Johnson's crew who worked all night to build a new car to be here.
And he was so lucky, wasn't he, really, to get out of it the way he did?
Yes, it was a dreadful crash. Let me treat you a bit like a tourist who's just arrived in the country. You know the classic question, what do you think of Australia? You've just arrived at Mount Panorama. What do you think of this?
It's the first time I've been, Evan, and you put your finger on it. It's got everything. It's got the sheer sporting ability. It's got the technology. It's got the team effort. Marvellous, makes you proud.
Well, to me, it represents so much that is correct about modern Australia. We're a sporting nation. It's a sporting event. We are very technologically minded, as the Australia 2 Conquest showed.
Absolutely.
And we've got some good drivers. There's people like Jack Bradman, Alan Jones, Peter Brock, Alan Moffat, who's showed for years.
Yeah. And it's not only the technology on there. The ATN7 coverage of this is a great illustration of the leading technology that we have in that area. I mean, as I understand from what I've been reading, what you call the race cams, you've got in 3 cars, haven't you?
Yes.
Well, you've provided the lead in the world, haven't you?
Yes, they do lead the world. In fact, when America wanted to adopt a similar system to cover big races like the Daytona, they brought the Australians over.
Yeah, that's great.
And every year, Jeff Healy and the team, John Porter, the man who's divided, they go across to America, and Jody Merton out to use this equipment. There's a flag marshal now. There are 700 officials from the Australian Racing Drivers Club here helping. They do everything from take tickets and clean up the place to do the very critical job of waving flags, each with a different colour, and to give a different meaning to the drivers, so the drivers can be warned of what lies ahead. Now, most of them are volunteers.
That's absolutely fantastic, giving so much enjoyment not only to the 45,000 people here, but you're going to every capital city now, with Darwin being in for the first year, so every capital city and every regional station.
Every station that has a commercial station here is getting this picture.
You got any estimate of how many people will be watching?
A conservative figure is 6 million.
Yeah, that's great service you're providing.
Yeah. And of course it goes around the world as well. It'll be seen in America, in Britain, in Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, and many other places where they like motor racing.
It's a great tribute to your organisation, what you've done here. Absolutely.
Now you're going to be presenting the main prizes.
Yep, that's right.
Well, I'm not quite sure who's going to win it. The two are in contention.
Well, we've got a lot of excitement in front of us before that happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, if there's one thing that's true about the race here at Mount Panorama, it is never over till the checkered flag starts. And in many cases of last-minute dramas. We had the case back in 1976 when Bob Morris and John Fitzpatrick, an English driver, won.
That's right.
Where Fitzy had to nurse the car to the line with the smoking differential. He just made it.
That's one of the very few occasions when an overseas driver's taken it out, isn't it?
That's right, yes, indeed. Rano Altman, the Finnish driver, was the first back in 1966. Then John Fitzpatrick. Jackie Hicks partnered Alan Moffat to
had to take it over the line at the end.
That's right. No, it's a great race. It does capture public imagination.
Certainly does.
We go to all parts of Australia, and all parts of Australia come here. If you were to walk up on the mountain and see the crowd here, you'd find people from Darwin and Perth.
Well, I've already seen that coming in. People telling me of the various parts of Australia that come from it.
Yes. Look at this man. one-man drive. Peter Brock, he's an Australian. He's been driving for many years now. He's, what, 38?
He started in 69, I think, didn't he, here?
Only as a young fellow. He used to race, of all things, an Austin A30 with a Holden engine in it.
Is that right?
Which must have been like trying to balance a ballpoint pen. And look at the way he drives. He is a superb driver. Absolutely. Very fast, but so cool and unflurried. He's one of the world's great car drivers, I've no doubt. He never went overseas, or very rarely. He hasn't gone such as Jack Brabham did or Alan Jones to race in Formula 1. But as far as touring cars, which are Peter's speciality, he'd have to be in the top rank. You maybe would put 3 or 4 other people around the world in the same class.
Is that right? Yeah. That's great credit.
Alan Moffat, Canadian-born, been here. He raced first in 1964. A much different character to Peter. Peter is very much carefree, but very relaxed.
That's right. Yeah.
Alan is much more intense, but a great driver and a great sportsman as well. And certainly he's been following a pioneering path, trying to get the Mazda RX-7 to the winner's circle.
I met Peter at the football the other day. He's an avid Collingwood fan, and he had a very large win over the Swans that day. I think he'd like to have the same margin today.
Well, it's time for us to break for commercial requirements. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to congratulate ATN and 7 again. As I said, it's a magnificent technological achievement that you've made. You're not only here in Australia, but you're leading the world. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan Green, and thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. The great race continues. We'll be taking a break and returning live to Mount Panorama for some more race to Mount Panorama at Bathurst. And obviously, our Prime Minister chatting over the events of the past 2 days.
Not talking Queensland politics, you don't think?
No. Dick's one of our great Australian sporting heroes, and I think the being so closely associated with sport would be offering a few words of consolation. Either that or the $100,000 grants have been passed out.
Dick Johnson, a big smile for Prime Minister Bob Hawke.